Introducing your trusted source for high-quality Black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe Black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of Black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your Black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
Jackson. If you could make up a social media holiday, what would it be?
Randy said National Don't Let No One Put You Down Day.
No one. What you gonna do? So when they say something crazy, you slap them?
Be like me said. Remy said a Jukathon Day.
Man, we're about 60 years old. I be done had a heart.
You gotta get your heart rate up.
Okay, not that far.
Yeah. All right, Mario said my favorite one. My friends and I do what we call National Call Off from Work Day.
As a business owner, I don't.
You don't like that, yeah.
I don't like that.
Because I'm the boss of this family.
We got Marcus Garvey Day from Remy too.
Oh, Marcus Garvey Day. All right, what will we do on Marcus Garvey Day?
Call off from work.
I'm going to need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow. That would be great. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Every Black holiday has something to do with calling off from work.
You're cool. I'm out.
About National Join a Positive Black Organization Day, because I don't want to be recruited. I don't want to be recruited and the brothers be like, thank you. Thank you. How about National Tell White People the Truth Day? Tell them how you really feel.
You can't handle the truth.
Why don't we call that National Black People Get Locked Up Day?
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Hello.
The most dangerous show in the morning.
That's why we shine wherever we go. 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 Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
Great afternoon to you wonderful people. Welcome to this Friday edition of I Said What I Said. We are live from the What's In It for the Black People Media Studios. Herb, Howard, Tucson, Warner here with you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We get together right here with you on What's In It for the Black People Media, and we discuss issues that are impacting the Black community, how those things are impacting us as individuals, and how they impact us as a collective. And along with your help, we talk through many of these issues in hopes of finding the best solution for overcoming these things. Again, overcome them as individuals, but more importantly, overcome them as a collective. Thank you so very, very much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you. We would kindly ask that you please take a quick second to share the conversation by clicking on that little arrow in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Click that little arrow and share the conversation on your personal page. Share the broadcast, even if in your personal network. Anyone, absolutely anyone that you think would find value in or add value to this particular conversation, we welcome them to be a part of it. It is our sincere belief that the more like-minded individuals that we can get to be a part of this conversation, the better opportunity we have of reaching the optimum solutions going forward. So please take a quick moment to share the conversation. Also, if you feel so inclined, you can contribute to the show by clicking on the little gold stars in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We certainly appreciate each and every one of those. Again, this is I Said What I Said. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb Howard. His name is Toussaint Werner Tou. What's happening, good brother?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored. Femo, how you?
I am struggling today. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I was at my homie's house and there's a dog there, and I've never been allergic to really anything. Like I've always like allergies. Like nah, not really. But something about this dog, I had an allergic reaction to it, and so like my nose was running crazy, my eyes were itching, my eyes were running, and because I didn't immediately think that it was like this dog. I thought it was something else because I've never really had that issue before. Like even with the season change, I don't have that type of allergy issue. But eventually it became like just overwhelming. Like so when I got home, like yesterday, it was still bad. My eyes were still running. My eyes had started to like swell up. Right, I was looking like red on Friday. Like damn, like put your glasses back on. And so that is why I have my glasses on today. Because yeah, my eye is swollen and like red and like runny and yeah, it's not a good look. It's not
all them Rona symptoms, son.
Is that what it is?
Mask, man. What the fuck going on there?
I literally just told you what happened. You see,
I just
just be paranoid about everything.
Dogs might have a Rona too. I don't know. I can't trust it.
Good. You know what? Anyhow,
bless your heart.
Bless his heart. And so then I took some. Fortunately, I did have some Benadryl, some allergy medicine at the house, and I took it. And I've been like sluggish, dude. Like all last night, all this morning, just dragging. And so I'm in here drinking coffee. I come here trying to eat some cake to get my sugar level up. So I'm gonna try to keep my energy up today so we can have a good show. It is Relationship Friday here on I Said What I Said. And you know we like to talk our shit on Relationship Friday. But just in case my energy level ain't what it normally is, not to worry. We will certainly be compensated for for any lack of energy that I may have. It will be covered. Do not worry about it. We are absolutely thrilled to be joined live in studio by the one and only host of Triggered. It is Trigger Mike. Instructor Mike Brown is here. Mike, what's happening, good brother?
That was a good intro. That was good. What's going on?
Well, ain't nothing to it, man. We appreciate you being here, man. We've been talking about doing this for a little bit. We finally got it set up for you to come in here and unfuck somebody's fuck.
Boy.
And I am looking forward to it, man. I tried to be you on Halloween, man.
You did good.
I tried to be you on Halloween, and the conversation got into such a way where I wasn't able to be Mike as much as I wanted to be Trigger Mike.
I saw that.
But so I might have to do it again. But, you know, now we got the real thing in the studio with us, so we could just rock like that, man.
Yeah, he was waiting all day to say, unfuck your fuck.
Boy, I was waiting. You did say that, though.
I did.
You did.
I got a little Trigger Mike in there, but I didn't get a whole lot.
It was at the 42nd minute. I was like, yeah, that's it.
We got a new one on that.
Yeah.
It was it Mr. Johnson's Johnson?
That promo is on fire. Oh, my God.
Yo, Esco be going crazy with the promos,
Yes.
She wanted Mr. Johnson's Johnson.
She wanted Mr.
Sucking stars for bars.
Sucking stars for bars. Let me tell you. That's it.
Do you know anybody who's been raped for 3 years with a gun on their waist?
Let me tell you.
Anyway, man, it's an absolute pleasure. If you are not hip, you need to absolutely make sure that you are tuned in to Triggered every Tuesday and Thursday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is hosted by Instructor Mike. It is educational. It is entertaining. It is absolutely triggering. You will run the gamut of emotions while you watch Trigger. You be like, yeah, he right as hell. No, fuck him. He's wrong as shit. Like, well, I guess he's still kind of right, but don't say it like that. Like,
right.
But
Nah, he definitely got the right title, G. He triggers the shit out of everybody. He be triggering me.
You should see some of these comments. He ain't going to be speaking on relationships. Yes, I am. That's right. So whatever y'all drop, let's go.
Let's get into it, too. I saw you getting back on your bike, man. You rode up here to the studio today. I knew you was back on it, a couple of days ago. It started getting nice outside. I'm going to get on my bike. And so you've been on your bike for a few days, and every time you get on your bike, there's some tales from the road for you. What's the deal?
Man. So, I'm a fanatic, G. Once that weather hits, I can't stop myself.
Right.
So the other night, we rode, and I went down to the Trump Plaza, to the Trump Hotel or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they was down there talking about this protest, and I just wanted to see what's going on. So we got down there. I'm flying. I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. The bike feeling good. I'm feeling like, this is a brand new bike. I was like, man, this is a good day.
Right. New lease on life.
Got the 35th. Pow! The tire popped on me, and I didn't have any of my equipment with me, right? So, but I walked it off, and I was like, shit, mind you, my hip is still shitty.
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, I'm finna have to walk from
Wouldn't have nothing to do with
35th
riding 30 miles with it.
to the goddamn crib, man. But then what happened was one of my homies came out. He had an attitude. We fixed it on the spot. So I only had to walk like 5 blocks, and I was back at it. And I'm back at it this morning, man. I'm dedicated, man.
Dedicated. You a fool is what you are, man. I'm glad you're getting to do what you like, man. It's unseasonably warm right now in Chicago. It's early November. We talking about 73, 75 degrees. I'm not complaining.
Global warming.
Yeah, I know. And people will still tell you, no, it's not a real thing. No, it is absolutely a real thing, right? It's not supposed to be 70 in Chicago in November. Even last year on Christmas, it was like 60 or something like that. It was something crazy. We had a real mild winter last year. I'm not complaining. Listen, you give me another mild winter in Chicago, I'm with it. The only time I feel bad about it is when I watch them little videos, them heartstring videos about the polar bears and the ice caps, and they be sinking in the water and crap. That's kind of sad. But
Yeah, I ain't
70 in the winter in Chicago, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, it's good money, man. I think the weather adds to like some of the depression that goes on in Chicago, which adds to some of the crime, man. I think it really affects people's mind states.
Speaking of crime, my brothers.
Peep that transition I put you. I set you straight up for that.
Right up for that.
You're
I
great.
set you up for
You're
that.
great.
I lined you up for that.
You're great. You're learning from me, my brother. Usually I set this offense up, pass you the ball, and you make the shot. But you set that up brilliantly. You brought
Today
that.
I'm playing point. I usually play too. It's
John
what we
Stockton
do.
of the Rock. I love it. Speaking of violence, well-known rapper from Chicago, King Von, was gunned down in Atlanta late last night / early this morning. If you don't know who King Von is,
He's from 63rd, not from 65th.
He's from 64th and from 65th. He's not from 63rd.
Oh, he's not from 63rd. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Let's not get it twisted.
Let's not get it twisted.
Because we know that's a war. He is a popular rapper from O Block, over on 64th, 65th and King Drive. He runs with the 300 Gang, which is, in terms of notoriety and popularity, is spearheaded by the likes of King Von, Lil Durk, Chief Keef. And so that is the camp that he runs with. And he is unapologetic about the lifestyle that he lived, the things that he knew growing up. So recently FBG Duck, we talked about that here as well. Another rapper from Chicago who is from 63rd, who runs with the 600 camp. He's a GD and Von and him is BDs. FBG Duck was recently killed down on the Gold Coast, actually. Richest block in the city, and he got the gang shit caught up to him there. And King Von was talking all this shit. And, people, the streets kind of put it on King Von and that whole camp because that beef just been going on and on and on and on for years now. Eventually, Mike, you play that game, it's going to catch up with you. You could win 1,000 times. You only got to lose once. And so King Von one of his lyrics says, talking about how many people have died on either side of this particular war. He says, but check the score. If y'all lose one more, that's 6-24. It's like it's a game or something. Too, you always say they treat it like it's a video game, but eventually you can win that video game as much as you want. Yeah. You lose once, and it's a wrap.
Yeah, I don't see that. It would be something to find out if somebody from Chicago reached out all the way as far as Atlanta to touch you. That would be interesting to find out because of that.
It could happen.
Yeah, it's not feasible.
It's not. It's not outside the realm of possibility.
We can get to Atlanta. Cars go there.
Right, cars do, and planes and guns.
Right. I would bet you I bet you a bus finna leave from O Block at some point this afternoon and head down to Atlanta. They can't fly because they all got warrants and shit.
Facts.
But they finna take a bus down to O Block and it's finna get sent up. Whoever they're putting the responsibility on another rapper from down south named Quando Rondo. I don't know the backstory of this beef. I actually found out when I walked into the studio. Maze told me and Ron Riller told me. Shout out to Ron Riller. Ron, what's happening, bro? How you feeling in here today? Oh, okay,
Rondo
cool.
got a mic?
Oh, you ain't got no mic? Praise the Lord. Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it? We ain't got to hear Riller today. He figured it out. I'm going to say something.
But in regards to that.
Put one in just to talk shit.
Why not, right? See? But look, in regards to the King Von killing, right? It's a sad situation. It's a sad situation all around how our youth are living. But what's kind of most telling to me, and it's interesting, we got Trigger Mike on today, because one of my little cousins called me this morning, like, man, they killed King Von, and I don't even know. Like, past Lil Durk and King Von, and the only reason I know King Von is because he's been in the news for other things lately. Right. But past them two, I don't know who these people are. Yeah. Right?
You got to look it up.
Yeah, I got to look it up. So my little cousin, in the conversation we were having today, he was like, man, they shot King Von this morning. I was like, wow, that's crazy. And when he said they, I'm assuming it's the streets.
Right.
Then it comes out that the Atlanta police had something to do with it.
Okay.
But just in general, you know how this goes. Like, they legitimately live their lives on Instagram.
Yeah.
So immediately I go to King Von's Instagram page and start to read the comments under the first picture, and it's outrageous. Then I go to the guy that they said was Quando Rondo, the guy they said was involved. I go to his page. The comments are outrageous.
Yeah.
I go to Lil Durk's page. The comments are outrageous. But what I'm noticing in the comments as I'm reading through, some of the most vitriol and most violent comments are coming from young women. And I thought that was really telling.
That's what I need to look at.
I thought that was really telling.
They don't really have to deal with the consequences of this. But if you dig deep into most of these issues, there's going to be a girl somewhere inside involved in most of these things. Somebody's girlfriend, somebody's cousin, some chick said something, or some chick set somebody up. Yeah. Somebody orchestrated a drug deal. Somebody said, come over here, and then dude got robbed. And they like most of these things, somewhere, one of the key players is going to be a female.
Mm-hmm. And I end up saying that in my concealed carry classes. I got one coming up. I deal with a great degree of concealed carry. I've got a class coming up. If you want to I want to put out the number. I don't want to lose from the point.
All right, cool. Go ahead.
773-372-3929. If you want to hit me up for concealed carry classes, we can do that.
It's okay. We'll make sure we get it out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. But the thing is that not everybody carries a gun because they actually want that protection. Some people carry it for insecurity. And then when I piss them off in class, then they want to go back and tell a guy friend or a boyfriend about something, and then they get sent clean off. There's a great degree of men in jail or men who are in the grave because a woman sent them off to something that wasn't even what it was.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, pussy is powerful.
Extremely.
Is it?
Extremely. And it becomes even more, I don't know, powerful or influential or a critical component in these issues when you talk about this social media age. And so it becomes these messages in public and all these tagging these pages and these DMs and all this other stuff. And it becomes different from, even where it was, 10, 15, 20 years ago when it wasn't the social media area where you kind of had to know somebody. Now you got people beefing literally with people they've never even seen in real life. Like you've never even seen this person, but y'all got death to the end beef. Like that's crazy to me. I can't really fathom that, but it's a real thing.
Could it be an insecurity issue?
Absolutely.
Because if you think about it, you fighting over the woman that you feel secure with, and so your security is threatened.
Yeah.
And so now you got to attack that thing.
Yeah, that is where you're finding your value at, like in who you're sleeping with and who you hang around, and somebody attacks that, then they're attacking you.
I think the very design of America creates insecurity in every citizen. Okay. I think that's the design, right? That's how capitalism keeps working, right? You got to keep spending money. You got to keep spending money to buy security, to buy self-worth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts.
So most of us live in that space. So as a young man or even a young woman, when you not even fully realize as a grown person, you don't even know who the hell you are. I'm sure those insecurities permeate, right? So, I mean, we've all been there. I can't lie and say I ain't never got into it over a girl. That'd be a lie. That'd be a flat out lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at 15, 16, 17, when guns are so prevalent, ignorance is so prevalent, and the power of the vagina, shit could go left real fast.
So to the point of the power of the PUSSY, and also to the point of the insecurities, Q says, shout out to Q, what's happening, brother? Q says, is the pussy powerful or are men weak?
No, pussy is powerful. Pussy is powerful. It's a life force, brother. You can't deny the power of vaginas. It is what it is. It what gives us life. You know what I mean? It's like soil. It's like the earth. The earth is powerful. You can't deny it.
All life comes from such.
Yeah.
But this concept of weak versus strength, if you're insecure, is that a source of being weak? Can we have both at the same time?
Can you be strong and be dealing with some insecurity?
You can be strong in terms of defending, because think about it, the barriers that we place within ourselves, the wall that we place within ourselves is because the weakness we don't admit.
Sure.
And then when you talk about this insecurity that you think is going to fill this void, you're willing to fight to the death of that. Not even just pussy, but just thinking about, TV, Jordans. We shoot over those things that we hold secure to us because when you don't have them, you get them, you want to hold on to that. So you can still be weak and be
but even that's an insecurity, though. And that's why I always say it's nuance in our conversations, right? Even though I talk about politics and government and all that, at the end of the day, it's universal law versus man law.
Okay.
So you think about every deity in the history of man, their real claim to fame is giving away everything while we hoard everything.
Okay.
Right? That's what this life is about. It's about giving love. That's what this shit is really about. But when you hoard things or love things, that's about an insecurity in yourself.
Facts.
Right, but we don't deal in those constructs. We don't deal in man law versus, universal law versus man law. We don't deal there.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think we haven't been taught that?
Because it's not profitable.
There you go.
That is. Here we say Black Death was profitable.
Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you. Good night. That's really what it is, man. I think that if it wasn't for sex, right? If it wasn't for pussy, I think dudes there'd be one car.
Yeah.
There'd be one outfit.
Yeah.
Like there'd be one house. And like what you wearing today? The outfit.
Shit.
What you driving today? The car.
Right.
Like it's the same car everybody else got.
Right.
But because we're in pursuit of, this, I need to separate myself to seem valuable. I need to stand out in this way and that way. And we chase these other things because if you flip it, if men are willing to do anything for the pussy, then women, you see them doing a lot of outlandish things for the right or the ability to be around the guys that they deem to be successful or popular or whatever it is.
Material.
It's material. I want to show y'all a video. I sent it to you. We're going to play it a little later on. There's a video of a bunch of girls.
Real quick, though, Ready Rock says this wasn't about a fight over a woman. They beefing over other shit. I'm going to disagree. Because the Quando Rondo, this is, again, me following the Instagram trail because I don't know none of these little brothers, right? Yeah. But the Quando Rondo boy is apparently somebody in the camp of NBA Young boy, maybe.
Okay.
So NBA Young Boy and the other boy Vaughn have an issue over a woman.
Okay.
That's what this was, at least in the trail that I followed. Now, I don't know for a fact. I don't want to put no falsities out there on the air. That's just what I saw on the Instagram feed.
And listen, this particular one incident or not, I'm talking about just like the overwhelming majority of these incidents. You get into them deep enough, you will find a female in there. I'm not attacking female. I'm not saying they're responsible for all the wild shit that's happening out here. But the fact of the matter is, in many of these issues, there will be a female somewhere. And it don't have to be a sexual thing. It could be a familial thing. It could be whatever it is, right? So, we'll see. I'm sure the story will begin to continue to unravel as we go, and the streets will have its side, and everybody else have its side. To your point, too, you were saying that it was some police involved, and whether or not these police were the security of this Quando Rondo dude. It don't for that Quando Rondo dude, and I don't know who he is at all. But for his sake, in terms of his safety and well-being, he better understand that it don't matter what actually happened, right? Once the streets put that on your tab, it's on your tab, and you better move as such because them O-Block niggas and everybody who rocks with them around the world, people who have no idea what O-Block is. I watched the video. I told Ron I was watching a bunch of King Von videos last night. Just so happened what I was doing last night. And one of the dudes who put up one of these blogs, he's talking about how they be beefing. He's talking about the 64th, 63rd thing. He was like, what's crazy about that is they live 2 minutes away. And he got that information because he did a Google Maps thing. He put the Google Maps up. I'm like, bro, you don't know what you're talking. Like, it's literally like they're on the same block. It's like it ain't 2 minutes away. It's 30 feet away. I crossed this street and that's cracking. Like, you don't but that Chicago thing, it carries all the way out. You're talking about that Smoking Tuka shit. You had people like Youngin May, she from New York. She has no idea who Tuka is or what that is about. But she put I'm Smoking Tuka in her verse, and then all them 600 niggas got on her ass and she had to come out live and apologize for it. Stay out the Chicago shit is not really for you. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to play some of these videos. We're going to get into a conversation about Relationship Friday. Also, in the 2 o'clock hour, there is a very, very powerful video about racial construct and politics in America. I know it's Relationship Friday, but I found the video extremely powerful. At 2 o'clock, I'm going to play it for you. This is I Said What I Said. Joined live in studio by Trigger Mike. Instructor Mike is here. My name is Herb. His name is Tou. We'll be right back.
Trigger.
WISTVPM.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
That's why we shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go, Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
Welcome back. We are live from the beautiful What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. This is I Said What I Said. Tucson Warner, Herb Howard here with you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. Absolutely thrilled to be joined live in the studio by our brother Trigger Mike. Instructor Mike Brown is here on this Relationship Friday. Open up the show talking about this breaking news story across Chicago about popular rapper King Von being killed down in Atlanta and what that backlash will look like, or why these things even continue to happen in general, and in many ways the role that women play in these particular incidents. And I see some pushback from some of the ladies on the thing, like, what, that don't got nothing to do with us. And it does. Like, I don't know any other way to say it. It does.
Y'all still kind of missing the point.
Yeah.
It's not that we're blaming you directly.
No.
It's a byproduct though.
Right.
That's what it is. It's a byproduct. Like, when you all are not who you need to be, so that we can learn the things we need to learn, it reciprocates. It continues the cycle. You know. And don't get offended because it's what it is. That's where the healing comes from.
Yeah.
If I could sit here and tell you at 20 years old, I got married because I had mommy issues. Right. If I could be honest about that, and if we get men who are honest about the traumas that we've been through as young because of the stuff I didn't learn, don't take offense. That's what the fuck. That's what it is. That's what it is.
I think we got to get past the point of being offended in general. Like this thing ain't about being offended. It's about trying to get to the core of many of these issues. And just like we say, you know, white supremacy is a root cause of all. Like, I'm not saying that white supremacy pulled the trigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the set of circumstances were put in motion by a particular thing. And one part of that equation in many of these instances, there's a woman there. That just is what it is. Think about the cases you know of where people got killed or people been beefing back and forth. You know there's a woman in there somewhere.
I'm going to give y'all some pushback, though.
Come on.
Do it.
Pussy might be getting blamed. It might look like the culprit, but the culprit is the value system.
Okay.
Right? And even when we think about Relationship Friday and how I talk about relationships in this context all the time, I always push it back to capitalism because it creates a culture of ownership. You don't own that pussy. One of the greatest lessons my father told me. When she get up and leave, that pussy leave with her.
Yeah.
That ain't yours. Right? So in context, we're always looking for ownership of our partners, vice versa, men and women. Right? But that's a construct based in the construct of capitalism.
Okay.
We want to control and own every dynamic in life. And that's not real. It's a fluidity to life. You don't own none of this shit. Right. And it's always changing. You have to be like Bruce Lee, you say, you got to be like water. You got to fucking adapt. Right? But this system, just like you spoke a minute ago, you get your Jordans, you want to protect your Jordans. That shit has no value.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in our minds, this shit creates my value, my human value. You know what I mean? I got Jordans, so I'm the shit. I'm breathing oxygen, so I'm the shit.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? There's a difference in the mindset when you have a internal value system instead of external value system.
What do you think value is, though? When we can assign value to certain things, to you, oxygen is value, maybe because of how you're brought up. To another person, that oxygen is the thing that they've been robbed or denied of, whatever they grew up with, or they grew up without. Okay, and then when you get this system of entitlement, again, like I said, you've heard me say it before, people who have fought and died to get things now that we're included, well, my kids didn't have. So let me shower with the things you did not have instead of teaching you the skill sets you need to have to be able to acquire them yourself. We don't teach you the lesson. We just give you the residual of what you did not have. And then you grow up where if you're robbed of that thing, you're attached to that thing that you did not have.
No, that's a real thing. I think about that a lot when I see like these little babies in like Jordans and stuff that like their feet are going to be in those shoes for a week, maybe
a whole week.
You know what I'm saying? They're growing rapidly, and you see these type of things. Or you got everybody got those family members where you go in their house and it's a mess, everything is filthy or whatever, but they're gonna show up to Thanksgiving, all the kids gonna have on these brand new outfits and these new stuff, and it's like, can we get our priorities together just a little bit, a little bit? Because you just called me and asked me for money for your light bill, or you just called me and asked, can I buy your link that's supposed to be going in them kids' mouth because you need cash for whatever the hell you want cash for, weed or whatever it may be.
Right.
But here we are, and we showed up, and we got to have new shit because we fronting, right? We're trying to keep up this image, and it's like, can we get to some real shit and not be so caught up with the image? Because that plays out not only on that level, but it continues to play out through every aspect of society. We see it at the highest level of politics. This imagery and bullshit with no substance, it don't really fucking matter.
Yes.
Yeah, but thank you. That's what it's the value system that's fucked up.
It is, right? But then just think about this last week, I think it was, right? I don't know these people, but there was a prevalent conversation about if you can't get me a Birkin bag, throw them to the streets, give them back to the streets, right? So that becomes your value system, right? The Cardi B and the other brother she's married to, he shows up with a Bentley and we back together. He spent money. It's all good as long as you got the capital, right? So if that's the case, then all of this shit is for sale. And if you for sale, your only value is what I paid for your ass. And the value of human life always is going to exceed whatever that number becomes. It's going to always exceed whatever that material good is.
Unless it doesn't.
But if it doesn't, then I'm going to treat you like a piece that I purchased.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And when you put a price tag on it, it's always going to fall short of what you internally value yourself at.
Okay.
Always.
Can you find the video that I sent you with their, I can't even remember what rapper it was because I don't even be in tune with these rappers like that. But the rapper, he's at his show, and it's a bunch of women in the front row, right? And he's got a bunch of pies, right? I guess it seems like he may do this at a lot of shows. He's got a bunch of pies, and women like fight to get up to the front row so they can lean over the little gate at the front row so that he can take a pie off the front stage, smash it in their fucking face, and then he gives them like a little swag package or something, with maybe like a T-shirt or a hat or some goofy shit in there, and like woman after woman is lining up at this gate to get a pie smashed in their face. And we had a concert, right, that you amped about. So they didn't win and got themselves all the way together. You didn't got your whole outfit done, your face is beat, your hair is done. But just to get him to pass you a T-shirt or some shit, he's smashing pies in your face, and they're lining up for like, please smash this pie in my face next. Where's your fucking value set, ma'am? Like that's complete bullshit.
But the thing is that, and I'm looking at some of the comments in here, it seems to be that there is a great degree of deniability in terms of, well, it's not over the woman, it's not over the woman, it's not over the woman. Even thing with the pie, if you got men that are fighting for, pussy or whatever the case may be because of the value system, then what makes these same women, if in fact it is true that a great degree of our households are headed by women, then what gives them the value system to make them say, okay, this is what you do to make yourself known? And that value system, is this the level I'm going to stoop to?
Yeah.
And why is there the lack of the acceptance that, you want to blame the man who's not there? Okay, fine, daddy isn't there, whatever the case may be. But who is there who should be teaching? You're not teaching because you weren't taught a part of that system that you're saying, right? And so who teaches the lesson?
Right.
So this value system.
Right.
Why is it this constant deniability? I'm too far from that.
Nobody wants to be held accountable. And
so I'm not in agreement with y'all, right? Be clear about this.
About
shit.
what?
That's right.
Y'all, I agree with you in the sense that it's the value system, right? But there's a culprit behind the veil that creates the value system that we align with.
Got it.
Now, I am in agreement with the construct that a nation cannot rise any higher than its women, right? Okay. Our women have bought into this construct as well, but I'm not putting the blame on our women.
Neither am I.
It is the construct, right? So, and I want to be clear about that because the comments are reading as if it's women's fault. No, this is the construct, and we've all bought into it. Okay. Now, here is part of the construct that we won't acknowledge, which is part of the conversation we was having the other day.
Okay.
Women have more access to the construct than black men do. And because we don't have access to the construct, then we have to take vigilante kind of outlaw ass tactics to be valued in the construct, right? So think about every fucking rapper that raps. I don't give a shit what genre he's representing, the little hood dudes or the Jay-Z.
The backpacks
it's
or whatever.
all based in, I got this money out the streets, because the money is what makes me valuable. Not the fact that I could weave these words together like the greatest poet you've ever fucking heard.
Right.
It's the money that makes me valuable. Right? Same thing with all the athletes. Same thing with all the shit that we admire. The reason why Jay-Z speaks for us politically, the reason why we're hearing from Nick Cannon and Nick Cannon's class is because these motherfuckers have already validated themselves in other sectors that say they've got money. And it creates the value set for them to be every fucking thing else, which is delusional. It's delusional. So regardless of how it plays out at the top of the top or the bottom of the bottom, the shit is the same construct. It's what we value.
I agree.
So if that's the case, I'm sure you've not been the first person who has said this, and I'm sure that other women have heard this. So at what point in time, if in fact that is true, do we change the construct, change the value system, and begin to teach? Because insofar as this is the first time I've ever heard this from you. So I'm exposed to it now. So now
you need to be listening a lot more than Mike, because this is what I said.
Look, he said, but what I'm saying is this. I can't blame a construct in terms of who is supposed to teach me when I don't know that this construct is what made my mother knew what she knew. As a young boy, I only know what's present in front of me. Now, I don't know what she's exposed to, but once she becomes exposed to that thing where she can then teach me better, the failure of her to teach me better is whose fault?
Well, then here it goes. Then I'm going to put it back on the men. Right? Because I'm a student of Amos Wilson.
Got it.
And Amos Wilson says a man cannot be identified as a man until he masters the construct of the society in which he was born into.
Facts.
So if that's the case, if we're born into this construct that has us at the bottom of the totem pole, then to become a man, our goal has to be what?
Masters of that construct.
Master the goddamn construct, which means
Got it.
Overthrow whatever is above us at this moment.
Got it. But
right?
as the 10-year-old Mike Brown didn't know shit about the construct.
10-year-old Mike Brown ain't responsible.
Right.
But whoever put the seed in your mama is. It is what being a man means.
I got it.
In a construct where you're at the bottom.
Here we go. I later learned in my mom's funeral from my dad, the person who put the seed in my mom, that my dad couldn't be around because my mom moved us all over the city to keep us away from my dad. Who's responsible for that?
It's cyclical though, Mike. We could talk about individual access, right? Individual situations. But it's a cyclical thing. It's a communal thing, right? So until we start having an identity and find ourselves aligned with the same monolithic thought process that we all run
there
from.
We go.
I ain't a monolith. Well, see, I'm going to give us a great example.
Please do.
Today, this whole fucking week,
Yeah.
there's been this backlash. Black men finna vote for Trump. Black men finna vote. Fuck all them.
Right.
You look at the numbers, ethnically, when they come back, 4% more than 2016 black men voted for Trump. And there's still a narrative going around like, fuck all them black men that voted for Trump. But if you read deeper, 4% more black women voted for Trump as well. So the black community voted for him. But because we're dyslexic in our understanding, right, we're looking for someone to blame other than the motherfucker who's putting us in the position.
I think that's the problem ultimately. Like, if we can get away from this idea of looking for someone to blame, as soon as I mentioned the fact that you will find women at many of the center of these street beefs, I said I'm not blaming them. Right, that was the first thing I said. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying they're there. But because we're looking for somebody to blame, and we don't approach this thing with the level of compassion, when it meets a woman's ear, it's like, he just blamed me. I literally just said I'm not blaming you, right? But that's how you receive it. That's how it meets your ear, and we have to be able to get past. We have to be able to approach this thing with the level of compassion that says, okay, here's where I think this came from. This is where I got it from. I got it from my mom, but I'm not blaming her necessarily for it, because she was a victim of the same construct that I was, and your father too, and so on and so on and so on. And if we can approach this thing with the level of says, okay, I want to recognize and accept my level of responsibility and hold myself accountable in this thing, but I'm not looking to like blame other people. I want to hold everybody accountable, but I'm not saying this is your fault. I'm saying here's your role that you played in it. Then we can get to somewhere. But I think we always get bogged down right at the first level of who fault it is. I didn't say it was your fault. I said, here's what you did in it, right? I'm not saying that it's your fault.
So let me ask this question.
This is where you were.
Let me ask this question. At what point do you stop becoming a victim and becoming a volunteer? Because in that vein, everybody's to blame. All of us are to blame. It is not even just explanations anymore. I'm not just explaining. No. You deserve all this blame. Because at what point do you stop being a victim and become a volunteer? This goes back to the Kanye, slavery was a choice shit. Because you had a choice to either die here or keep pulling this goddamn cotton. At what point do you stop being a victim and start becoming a volunteer?
And at what point do we start becoming a victim and a volunteer and become a survivor? Because that's kind of where I'm at too. Like, you know, I get the construct, but are the offspring of us going to be saying the same thing some 400 years later? At what point in time do we begin to do things house by house, block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city?
I can see you sitting up. I know you're finna respond, but we got to take this break. Right? I can see you getting all excited. You start getting yourself comfortable. That's when Tou finna get into it. We're going to take this break. When we come back, you can respond to that, and we're going to get some videos pulled up for you guys. This is I Said What I Said, joined live in the studio by Trigger Mike. Tou and Herb here with you to 3 o'clock. We'll be right back.
WISTV PM.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
Whatever happened to you falling in that grocery store?
Your guess is as good as mine. My auntie said she knew someone. I gave her all the information, but that was 3 weeks ago and I still haven't heard anything.
You still got time to talk to the lawyers at the CLN.
The CLN? What's that?
It's the Chicago Legal Network, a group of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of law, especially the laws most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. Plus, all the lawyers at the CLN all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community.
Sounds like I definitely need to contact them.
Say less. I can text you everything you need to know. So if you're ever injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information, or call 773-912-3545. That's 773-912-3545. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship. That's 773-912-3545.
No.
They all begging to get the prize. It ain't no sound no more, huh?
I actually get that a lot. I need time, once you stop, then you drop. I like super freaky bitches, let them stop when they see snot. And they sit up in here legal, finna parade on your block. But I ain't back and forth with niggas, I got guap, I get them drop for the logo. Soon as we get his Lolo, we gon' make the FM run, no shorty loader. When that money callin' hello, your new bitch is my fellow. He think he a Ninja Turtle, show his back up down the
It ain't no sound no more, huh?
I actually get that a lot. I need time, once you stop, then you drop. I like super freaky bitches, let them stop when they see snot. And they sit up in here.
Yeah, that's wild, bro. To me, like that's wild as hell. Like I'm gonna like volunteer. When do you become a volunteer, right? I'm gonna volunteer for you to smash this pie in my face just so you can give me a t-shirt or some shit.
It got us to the polls, literally.
Hey, shout out to the strippers in the A.
Boy, I'm telling you.
Shout out to the strippers in the A. One of them came on I Said What I Said last week on Relationship Friday. And hey, they might have turned the red state blue.
Look.
Or purplish.
Shoot, look, they got us to the polls. I'm just
hey,
saying.
Get your booty to the polls. That's crazy to me though. I saw that video, I was like, wow.
Our warped ass value system got us to the polls. Our fear got us to the polls. Not them goddamn strippers. Let's not give credit where credit is not due.
Who says it's not due?
Did you say not due or thought due?
Thought due. Where's thought due?
I gonna let you go with that one.
Give the thoughts their just due.
Oh my god.
But that's real though. That same conversation about us running to the polls, championing Biden, is about our value systems and our fears too. Again, that question still remains: at what point do you stop being a victim and start becoming a volunteer? Okay. And even in your response, you said, at what point do you start becoming a survivor? Well, what is the value of that kind of a life, right? What is the value of life if you've not yet found something worthy of dying for? Mm-hmm. That's a question we got to ask ourselves.
We still got something worth dying for, but think about when we started dying to fight back, right? We started dying to fight back when we were seeing tangible death. You were walking down the street and you saw your best friend hung from this,
right.
or the boys was coming after you, really killing you. Now we got death in other ways that take a little bit longer. So we figured, we're getting life, so we could not fight because we're okay.
Right. It's a difference.
I think we ain't identified the culprit. Right, this whole thing with this Instagram, right? We was talking offline and passing this around outside. Like, look at this Instagram, look at this Instagram, look at this Instagram. Right. What's so different about that than being hung in the middle of the town square? It's the same thing. Why do you think they can scrub the internet of Jay-Z's new album release, but don't scrub the internet of the police killings? You don't think it's the same behavior, say?
Yeah, but the thing is that what gets us inflamed faster, right? We see a video of a police shooting, we get inflamed faster, and automatically, I had that issue this morning, right? And you all might have seen it. I don't know if you've seen the video of the voter where there was this lady that was apparently marking multiple ballots and things like that, and people are like, wait a minute, that's a fake video. But then when you see, I think you might have seen that, but then when you see the video of a police shooting, it's automatically real, and we get inflamed off of it and sensed off of it real quick. They know that's going to move us. But the Jay-Z thing, we can go on ahead and put that to the side.
But move us to where is the question I'm asking.
I agree.
Right? In my mind.
Where's our Biden prize?
The greatest example the greatest example I gave was the other day when I said I just came from voting. I came from voting with my wife. Right? Now, my wife isn't necessarily engaged in politics in the way that I am. So when we go to the polls, she basically looking at me like, what you want me to sign my name to? Right? Yeah. Now, all along this whole last 6 months, I'm talking about fuck voting for either of these chumps. I'm voting down ballot. We voting down ballot. Everybody should vote down ballot. Here's the strategy to why down ballot would make sense. We're not voting for president. It's my wife. You understand what I'm saying? We walk in there. I've been telling her the same shit for the last week. We ain't voting for president. We ain't voting for president. As soon as I walk out, because I knew she was uncomfortable, I could just see it. Right. I walk out and say, who'd you vote for? And she hit me with the goofball look. I was like, your punk ass voted for Biden, didn't you? It's fear, G. Yeah, and she's sitting in the crib right now today watching the news. Oh, God, entrenched in the story. Like, what's going to fucking happen? Same thing that's going to happen no matter who was elected.
Facts.
The same thing is going to happen until we stand the fuck up and do something different.
And that's it. You can't. I think either May said or somebody said you're either going to be on the table, you're going to be on the menu, or you're going to be at the table ready to negotiate. And so I'm still asking the question: what do we get from this?
I don't think we aren't getting anything from it, right? I think that we have this. I don't want to call it an illusion because, like, we talk about things like, oh, that's not a reality. But if it is, right, the perception is reality, right? And so if that's the perception all around you, then yeah, that's the real thing, right? So if it's like whether we talking about politics and we say, well, you think something gonna change for black people's circumstances in this country because Joe Biden is in the office as opposed to Trump, that's not a real thing. But that's the fucking perception. That's what everybody's gonna run out there and do. Then whatever. I feel like I heard black people taking a collective sigh of relief across this country as those polls continue to come in like Biden's winning. I was like, whoo, okay, now we good now. Now it's cool to be black in America. What the fuck do you think just changed?
Somebody said we're in a new day.
What new day?
What fucking new day?
Fucking Friday? Right. This is the day the Lord has made. I shall rejoice and be glad in it. Like that's not a real fucking thing. No. But if that's how everybody's moving, then it kind of is the real thing. That's what everybody fucking believes. Then
but
it kind
in
of
a lot of ways, this is the basis of us doing Relationship Friday.
It is. Right? Absolutely it is.
Because the minute we fix our households, right, the minute we start to align and love each other, none of this other shit is going to matter.
Facts.
Right? Because you'll die for love.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, people do that.
All the time, right? Yeah. I have no qualms with taking a bullet for either one of my children, for my old lady. I have no qualms with it, right? Facts. But we don't operate in that spirit.
Right.
Our communities don't operate in that spirit. That's why it's trash in front of our homes.
Exactly.
All of this shit permeates back to, they be smaller issues, but it's about the lack of love, the lack of self-worth. That's lack of love. Right? That's why the shorty can say, if you can't get me a Birkin bag, to the curb with your ass because you're not worthy of nothing.
Right.
This material is only worthy. Yeah. You're not worthy.
Yeah.
Same thing with the young boys that when you start to label women as every woman is a bitch because you don't value you, homie.
Right.
You ain't never met a woman of value.
Right.
A woman will change your fucking life.
But let me ask you
just
this,
a
though.
presence.
The right woman, sure.
You said that person never met a woman of value. Doesn't it stem from the home? Because if value is exhibited in the home, they would know what to value and they would have an example of that thing to value. So you would know not to disrespect someone who on their face may look like they may have no value, but you haven't been given the proper representation.
I'm not disagreeing,
the value.
I'm not disagreeing, Mike, but the problem is that we see one tree and identify the entire forest by that one tree.
If you ain't never been through the forest, all you know is the tree.
The one tree becomes the example of everything in the goddamn forest.
Right.
And we're not recognizing that whatever on the back end of that forest, whatever planted that forest is the source of the problem. Right? So internally we argue with each other. All black men ain't shit. All black women is bitches. You hear this shit back and forth. When we had the conversation about Relationship Friday, my flat out words to her was like, I don't want to do that shit.
It was.
Because it's going to be, you did this and you did this and you did this.
And I try to get away from that every time. But
Right.
it tends to get stuck there.
When at the end of the day, the culprit is the system in which we are living under, right? You eradicate white supremacy from our communities, in my opinion, all our ills get fixed overnight.
But you can't do that until we learn to love each other more than we love the system of white supremacy. Because believe it or not, we love that shit. We accept it, we chase it, we pursue it, we are indoctrinated into it. I believe that black people are as infected, if not more so infected with the disease of white supremacy than white people are. I've said it before. It's because I think we get it twice, right? White people get it from one end and say, hey, you the shit, you the shit, you the shit, you the shit, you better than everybody else. Cool, that's one thing. Black people get they the shit, 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 they better than everybody else. And you ain't shit, you ain't shit, you ain't shit, you ain't shit, you worse than everybody else. And so we get it twice, and I think that we've been like doubly infected with this disease. And if we can let go of that and learn to love ourselves, then we can start to approach this shit of eradicating white supremacy. But if I don't love me, I think that is the shit. I want that.
And I agree. Go ahead. I'm just saying I agree because it's hard to, and let's just say in my perspective and my experience, I teach firearms. A great percentage of the love that I get, white folks. Why? Because that's a part of the culture that it's ingrained within them. When I went to the military, who loves that? White folks. Black folks say, oh, you went to the military, now you fighting in the war for the system. Then you become a police officer. Then you want to go out there with the goal and the thing to try to help folks, because that's your real intention, regardless of what you don't know about the system and the construct of law enforcement. Your intention was to go out there and help folks. I wasn't bullied as a kid.
Right.
I got tired of seeing people get jumped, and so I decided to become this thing. But then you get double marginality, exactly what you just said. Now you get it from white folks who think that you're just going to give black folks a pass. And then you get it from black folks. Now you think you're a part of the system. Who you think you are, Coon, Sambo, all this shit. So it's like, what the hell? Who do I align with? You're not getting that love from because of your intention, because people don't understand that shit.
No, but that's the entirety of our story as well, though, right? So we are a very unique group, right? We're unique in the sense that America's legitimately home. It's legitimately home. We're like goddamn the bastard child in the goddamn in the family structure.
That's real,
right? So when you get the other ethnicities that come here with another homeland, they understand the value of their identity, which is based in love, right? So you see the Asian stores that sell weave on the corner. You can go get that same weave as a black man, come back to that Asian store and undercut everybody in regards to price. They're not gonna sell you that shit. They're not gonna buy that shit, because they're not gonna undercut their cousin Young Tou, who's selling the same shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's about identity. So when we are constructed and born into this soil, we don't have we kind of like idealize Africa, but we don't know shit about Africa.
Still waiting on my Ubuntu 45.
Yeah,
right.
We idealize Africa, but we're really not connected to the continent in that way.
Right.
So America is legitimately home base. So you want to be loved by the warmth of the family.
Facts.
But you've always been ostracized by the family.
What's the
so
African
hence,
proverb?
no matter whatever you do, you join the motherfucking military, you join the police, you working with stepdaddy who's an abusive ass father. You understand what I'm saying? So the other kid who's in the same position you in is like, man, fuck you. You supporting this abusive motherfucker? It's an oxymoronic situation, but at the end of the day, until we create our own identity, this will be our reality.
The child that is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
And that's what we got going on.
Yeah,
we got to change it.
We got to take a break as well. When we come back, I'm probably going to ask Tou to open us up with the video. The video is a little bit long. It's probably like 10 or 11 minutes, but bear with me. It is a very, very powerful video on the racial construct in America as it relates directly to politics. As I said what I said, my name is Herb. His name is Tou. We are joined live in studio by instructor Mike. We'll be right back.
We don't get no outro music or nothing. We just...
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality Black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe Black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of Black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
Whatever happened to you falling in that grocery store?
Your guess is as good as mine. My auntie said she knew someone. I gave her all the information, but that was 3 weeks ago and I still haven't heard anything.
You still got time to talk to the lawyers at the CLN.
The CLN? What's that?
It's the Chicago Legal Network, a group of fraternities that concentrate in many areas of law, especially the laws most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. Plus, all the lawyers at the CLN all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community.
Sounds like I definitely need to contact them.
Say less. I can text you everything you need to know. So if you're ever injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information, or call 773-912-3545. That's 773-912-3545. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation.
Jackson.
If you could make up a social media holiday, what would it be?
Randy said National Don't Let No One Put You Down Day.
No one. What you gonna do? So when they say something crazy, you slap them?
Be like me said. Randy said a Jukathon Day.
Man, we're about 60 years old. I'd be done had a heart
You gotta get your heart rate up.
Okay, not that far.
Yeah. All right, Mario said my favorite one. My friends and I do what we call National Call Off from Work Day.
As a business owner, I don't.
You don't like that, yeah.
I don't like that.
Because I'm the boss of this thing.
We got Marcus Garvey Day from Remy too.
Oh, Marcus Garvey Day. All right, what will we do on Marcus Garvey Day?
Call off from work.
I'm gonna need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow. That would be great. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Every black holiday has something to do with calling off from work.
You're cool. I'm out.
About National Join a Positive Black Organization Day, because I don't want to be recruited. I don't want to be recruited and the brothers be like, thank you. Thank you. How about National Tell White People the Truth Day? Tell them how you really feel.
You can't handle the truth.
Why don't we call that National Black People Get Locked Up Day?
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Hello.
The most dangerous show in the morning.
Holiday has something to do with calling off from work. About National.
Mr. Jones owned a cotton plantation and many slaves. One day he was talking to the owner of the plantation next to his, and Mr. Jones was lamenting the fact that times were tough. He was having to work his slaves harder than ever, and was having trouble with some of them being disobedient or trying to run away. The other plantation owner said he knew someone who could help.
Day one.
One day, Mr. Jones called his slaves together so a man named Mr. Smith could talk to them. Before beginning, Mr. Smith whispered to Mr. Jones, "Whatever I say, do not contradict me or interfere, and I promise you your slave troubles will end." "My name is Mr. Smith," he said to the slaves, "and this may be the happiest day of your lives. From today forward, you will no longer be slaves, but free men." Mr. Jones was so shocked he started to step forward, but Mr. Smith gestured for him to remain silent. He did, only because the other plantation owner had spoken so highly of Mr. Smith's skills. "You are no longer the property of Mr. Jones," Mr. Smith continued. "You are free. No more would you be forced to labor for the benefit of Mr. Jones. Now you can work for yourselves." Now the slaves were all murmuring and looking at each other. Many were smiling, many were looking puzzled. In fact, you are now free to leave the plantation whenever you want, Mr. Smith said. However, since we are surrounded by other plantations, if you leave, some other plantation owner will likely claim you as his own the moment you set foot on his property. So I urge you not to risk your newfound freedom by doing something so foolish. Instead, I suggest that you stay here, no longer as slaves, but as willing participants and part owners of this plantation. Yes, this is now your plantation. Mr. Jones bit his tongue to keep from objecting. For now, we might as well leave Mr. Jones in charge, said Mr. Smith, since he's the only one with any experience at running a plantation, which is quite a complicated thing to manage. But he will no longer be your master, but just another worker on the plantation. In fact, he will now be using his organizational and management skills to serve you. Whatever problems you may have had with him before, you are now all equals, and you need each other to make this work. If we all cooperate and work together, we can all reap the benefits together. In honor of this happy occasion, I present you this new symbol of togetherness and cooperation, this flag, which shall be the emblem of the new Free Jones Plantation. He held up the new flag, but most of those listening were still too amazed to respond. And this shall be our motto, Mr. Smith announced. We work together as free men for our mutual benefit, pledging our allegiance to the Jones Plantation, which stands for prosperity, liberty, and justice for all. To celebrate, everyone has the rest of the day off. Enjoy your freedom, do as you please, and be back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, so that we may begin work on this great and noble new endeavor as equal free men. Finally convinced that Mr. Smith was serious, the former slaves applauded and cheered.
Day 2.
We all want this plantation to do well, Mr. Smith said at the beginning of the next meeting, so we can all share in the benefits. We all know that it takes a lot of effort to make a cotton plantation work. Just because you're all free doesn't mean you can stop working. In fact, since you're now working for yourselves, I expect you to work even harder than ever before, but now with pride and joy, knowing that you're working for yourselves. Of course, there still have to be rules. If everyone just does whatever he wants, the plantation won't produce anything. This experiment will fail and we'll all starve. You should be thankful that Mr. Jones has agreed to stay on to lend his knowledge and skills to this endeavor, and I trust you will all do your own part to make this work. Several of you have been chosen to act as project supervisors to manage different aspects of the operation, to make sure everyone is doing his assigned job, to make sure that the rules are followed, and so on. The rest of you may head out to the fields to start your first day of work as free men.
Day 3.
The next morning, Mr. Smith had a grim expression on his face as the daily meeting began. I have an unpleasant duty to do today, he said. Yesterday, Charles was caught keeping some of the cotton he picked, presumably to sell for his own personal profit. That is against the rules. That is stealing. For that, Charles must be punished. 2 men tied Charles to the whipping post. I take no joy in this, Mr. Smith continued, but you must understand, if we do not maintain order, if we do not have rules that we all abide by, then the plantation will fail and we will all suffer. The whip cracked against Charles' back. But if we all pitch in for the common good, then we can all prosper. Being free doesn't mean you should be selfish and greedy. We must each do our assigned duties and obey the rules, and then we can all benefit, and each of you will receive your appropriate share of the profits. A young man named Samuel stepped forward. But if you and Mr. Jones decide the rules and whip us if we disobey, how is that any different from what we had before? How can you say that? Mr. Smith asked. I'm shocked. You were a slave before, and now you're free. Things still need to be managed and organized by those best qualified to do so. Do you know how to run a plantation, Samuel? Well, no, he answered. But if we're free, why do we get no say in what the rules are and how things work? I'm surprised at your ingratitude, Mr. Smith answered. None of you know how a plantation is run, so you're in no position to be making decisions about how things are done here. You don't seem to appreciate all the things that Mr. Jones provides for you, from protecting you from all the outside threats you know nothing about, those who would come here, capture and enslave you if not for Mr. Jones' protection, to making sure that you all have food and housing, tools to work with, you're cared for when sick and injured, and so on. There wouldn't be a plantation at all, no cotton to pick, no land to plant and harvest if not for him. You should be grateful that he's made possible the level of comfort you now have. Your lives would be far worse if not for him. Nevertheless, as free and equal participants in this endeavor, from now on at each meeting, any worker may have 2 minutes to ask questions or voice suggestions or complaints. With that, the workers all seemed satisfied and headed out again to the fields to pick the cotton.
Day 4.
I have a big announcement, Mr. Smith said as the daily meeting began. Mr. Jones cousin is here, and not just to visit and see how our project is coming along, it has been decided that from now on, you will be deciding who will manage the plantation. Of course, this job can't be done by just anyone, but every 3 months we will have a special meeting at which all the workers will vote on whether we think Mr. Jones should run the plantation or whether we think his cousin, Mr. Johnson, should run the plantation. That means that ultimately you are in charge because you will be deciding which man you want running things on your behalf. If you don't like the way things are being managed, you now have the power to change it. Amazed and pleased, the workers headed out again to the fields to pick the cotton. Days passed, months passed, a year passed, and the plantation continued to operate as before. Sometimes Mr. Jones was in charge, sometimes Mr. Johnson was in charge, but the day-to-day routine stayed exactly the same. The workers worked hard, long hours every day, and still had little to show for it. Every day the meeting would begin with them all reciting the Jones Plantation motto, "We work together as free men for our mutual benefit, pledging our allegiance to the Jones Plantation, which stands for prosperity, liberty, and justice for all." One day Mr. Smith announced, "Samuel is asked to say a few words this morning, and whatever the rest of us may think of his ideas and opinions, we are all free here, and that means we are all allowed to speak our minds. So, Samuel, you have 2 minutes. Begin." Samuel stepped forward, looking scared. "I was excited when all this started," he began, glancing nervously at Mr. Smith and Mr. Jones. "But don't you all see what's happened here? Nothing has changed. We're all still slaves." There were grumbles of disagreement from the crowd. "They tell us what to do and whip us if we don't. They still make all the rules and punish us if we disobey. They let us make suggestions and complain about things, but they never really change anything. They let us choose between Mr. Jones and Mr. Johnson, but what's the difference? The situation stays the same. We do all of the work and they take as much as they want and decide how much they'll let us keep. They live in luxury, made rich by the cotton we pick. We do all the work and have to build our own huts, grow our own food, and take care of ourselves. They leave us just enough that we don't revolt or run away. This is not freedom. We're all still slaves. They've only changed the words they use, but nothing else has changed. They say we're all free and equal, but we're not. They command and we obey. That's not freedom. That's not equality. They say we're free to leave, but all that means is that we're free to be someone else's slave. Why should we work or obey the rules? We didn't agree to this. They made the system. They forced it on us. They control and rob us and call it freedom. They've deceived you into thinking that being able to choose which slave master you'll work for is the same as being free. It's not. Open your eyes. If you keep what you produce, they call it stealing. When they take what you produce, they call it sharing and fair distribution. Can't you see that this is all? Your time is up, Samuel," Mr. Smith announced calmly. At his gesture, 2 supervisors grabbed Samuel by the arms and led him to the whipping post. "I'm sorry, Samuel, but you've broken the rules. There are rules against encouraging others not to work and encouraging others to break the rules. You're only hurting all of us with your discontentment and your complaining and your disobedience." The whip fell and Samuel let out a grunt. "Without rules, without order, all would be lost. Without law, there would be chaos. We can't just behave as wild animals, each doing whatever he pleases. We must all follow the plan and all do our duty for the betterment of everyone. And those who do not must be punished." The whip fell again and blood flowed freely from Samuel's back. "Samuel, it is you who are stealing from the others. When you don't do your assigned work, you are making more work for others. When you disobey the rules, it is you who are endangering the future of everyone else here. You are the thief. You are the criminal. You are the one trying to destroy the arrangement that keeps us all safe and prosperous." At every lash of the whip, the other workers cheered louder and louder, some yelling curses at Samuel. "Being spoiled and selfish, you complain about everything, talking as if you're oppressed. But you are the one ruining things. You are the one keeping us from being all we could be. It is your greed and your rebelliousness that is hurting all of us. They all play by the rules," Mr. Smith said, gesturing at the others. "What makes you think that you don't have to? You think you're above the law?" There were loud yells of agreement as the whip fell again. We must maintain order, Mr. Smith proclaimed, to make this plantation great, to make it so that we can all be happy and prosperous. To have the society we want, there have to be rules. We all have to contribute our fair share to this great endeavor, and we cannot tolerate actions and attitudes that seek to undermine the amazing things that together as free men we have achieved and will continue to achieve. Mr. Jones was smiling as he gave Mr. Smith a pat on the back. The crowd was cheering so loudly that none of them had noticed that Samuel had died.
What you have been taught about government and politics is no more accurate or reasonable than what Mr. Smith taught the slaves. If you're ready to look through the veil of rhetoric and propaganda to see the reality beneath, get a copy of The Most Dangerous Superstition. It will change the way you see the world.
And we are back. Thank y'all so much for bearing with us through that video. I know it was a bit long. I appreciate y'all paying attention to it. I was watching the comments and being active in it as well. I just thought it was a really, really powerful video to see because I think that it is an accurate illustration of not only what was happening then, but what is happening this very moment right here in the United States of America in 2020. Like, that's not no old shit. It's happening right now. That's what we're seeing in this election. And, you know, Mr. Jones and Mr. Johnson, you get to pick who runs the plantation today. And, oh, you want Mr. Jones, you want Mr. Johnson. It's like that's a very, very real thing. And I think that we don't even understand that, like, that we went from mandatory slavery to choosing slavery. But then when Kanye says some shit like that, motherfuckers get all up in arms. It's like, because we don't want to think deeper about it. We don't want to go into that part of it. But it's the reality. That video, I saw that video. I thought it was extremely powerful.
And Kanye was right.
About that.
And well, about that piece, right?
Hey, the broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah. right.
In context, right? With nuance, right? I'm not the literal sense of saying, oh, motherfuckers chose to be slaves. Like, I can be anything I want. I'm going to choose slavery. Like, that's not really the context. But in reality, here in 2020, we're definitely making that choice.
Yeah, but we, like you said though, man, it's almost. I seen somebody. I think it was maybe Kang and Patai in the comments talking about somebody loving crack, and Kang was trying to make the example of crack being an addiction, right? This lifestyle, this addiction to fame, to celebrity, it's just that. It's an addiction, right? And we create our value sets around it, and we ingratiate ourselves in that world. So even like today when the young guy got killed, the young rapper got killed, it took nothing to go to Instagram and find out all of the details about his death. Because we're always tuned in. We're always tapped in. Like, we don't realize how much of this shit is attached, how connected it is, right? Even in regards to like just having a smartphone, right?
Yes, sir.
So how does a smartphone work? And how do people use it, right? So they usually, mostly not even to make calls. It's usually engagement over the digital space, right? Social media, all that shit. So one thing about the smartphone is the way it operates is it logs your behavior, right?
And your location.
And all that shit. So what it is a constant barrage of marketing. A constant barrage of selling you concepts. It's a constant barrage of selling you ideas. But if the construct of this country is to keep the white man at the top of the totem pole, keep the capital in his pocket, then what do you think is selling us? Because we are the biggest threat to white power. And we're only the biggest threat to white power because we're the closest thing to the origin of all life. Right? So all that, I got my melanin popping shit. That's only about having more babies.
Right.
That's all that's about.
Right.
Right? So kids born after 2005, after 2005, they outpopulate the white race.
Okay.
Right? So now you can even watch how marketing trends are changing. You're starting to see commercials with mixed families. Mostly white men, mostly black women. Shit you'd never seen on television. Even the rumors or the stereotypes aren't white men and black women. It's black men and white women.
Right.
Right? But we want to deny that ethnicity his power. So we know we can't out-birth rape these people. So now we got to start changing the narrative. So we got to change narratives in a plethora of ways, though. So I'm not from 63rd, I'm from 65th or 64th.
Yeah.
That's just another element to die, kill them. Jail, another element to kill them. Homosexuality, another element to kill them. Right? And part of our relationships, again, we are all tied into this same goddamn system. We're all tied into the same frequency. So whether I kill you by death or I kill you by living, right? Because when your woman don't value you, a motherfucker, you might as well be dead. You understand me? So if I don't stand up and be a man, and I can't afford to be the man that patriarchy says you're supposed to be, right? So I can't provide for my child in this way because I've been shut out this fucking system. Then my woman starts to devalue me. What does my woman teach my child? She teaches my child to devalue me. And if it's a man child, that child starts to devalue himself inherently because in him he sees his father. Mm-hmm. It's a fucking cyclical thing, but we won't get past the surface to have the conversation.
And if that's the case, for all these women who are listening, how do we change it? That's kind of where I'm at. How do we change that? Because if you know that's the system and that's what we're being taught, then should the antithesis of that be the rejection of the LGBTQ programs that's being pushed to our kids solely or alone?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? What do we do physically to change the narrative? Because we know what's going on. We hear it. We see it. We have revelations of people who thinking outside of the box.
Sure.
So do we say, okay, we're not at fault? Well, yes, you are continuously at fault now that you know this information and you're not taking active steps to create this environment with what we can control, what we actually can control to make sure that our kids are now being, again, taught Black history. Even if they don't teach it in the schools, we have ways. That's what this network is possible. You're learning it from you. They're learning it from you. They're learning whatever they're learning from me. So with that information, put your kids in front of this. Listen to this. Learn this. Look at literature that, we're not what we used to be back in the day when information was controlled. We have more access to more information than ever before.
Sure.
So at what point do we take what little we do have, master that so we can be in the better space to be able to demand more and die for that more that we want?
So this is where I fuck with Trump.
That's why I fuck with Trump too.
This is where I fuck with Trump. Right? Trump nuts so big he can't even sit down right.
That's
real.
Gumption. That's real.
It's gumption.
I respect it.
It's gumption, right?
I respect it.
So how does the nation become the nation? The Nation of Islam, right? How did the nation become the nation? So before Malcolm, when Elijah was building, because he built more shit. Nobody else built nothing after Elijah. They ain't build shit. After Elijah, the nation sustained on shit talking.
Facts.
It legitimately sustained on shit talking, but that shit talking to that oppressor, that amount of gumption, some shit that had never been seen. Okay. Right? Huey P. Newton standing up with pistols to the police in Oakland was like, oh, this motherfucker cold. He got to be something other than what we've seen. So regardless of all that access to information, that don't mean shit, right? It's like America fights wars of attrition. They do the same thing with marketing. You cannot beat the system. You can't, right? So you have to have a different strategy to beat it. You have to have like a guerrilla warfare style of movement, right? And that guerrilla warfare style of movement can't be using their system to educate me beyond what they've let us have. Right. Meaning like that, just because we have access to the information, it's not going to change the behavior set. What changes the behavior set is not intelligence. It's courage.
Well, in an extent, yes, but what are you being courageous over? Now, I get what you're saying in terms of using the access to that information, how it doesn't change anything, that is courage, but courage to go into a war that you may not win, you'll never know whether you will or won't win unless you take the access to that information.
But all of it is war, though. And I don't even mean, let's say, go fight the system.
Facts.
Me sitting in my house with my wife and my children for 13 years so far, it's been war, bruh. Please believe, because I'm informed of the information. But I got to have the gumption to say, fuck this shit, I'm too courageous to quit.
But you're informed of the information.
Yeah.
That's the point.
But on both sides, though, right? I just told you the dynamic between me and my wife at the voting booth.
Right.
But this is not the shit on women or the shit on men. I came from a certain kind of a system. Right? I came from a system where books was available in my house, not just available, but enforced.
And you read.
I know that wasn't happening around my peers.
Backtrack that. You said it enforced, which meant somebody made you read it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about.
I'm not disagreeing, but I understand that I'm an anomaly. Right? And no matter however much of an anomaly I was, one day I was going to be let out into the fucking ocean. I'm going to have to deal with the ocean. It don't matter what the fuck was going on in my house.
Correct.
Here's the ocean, right? And as we move further and further away from that root of responsibility, of identity. So that first identity was wrapped in love. And even my father had benefited from the nature of his parents, right? And this is all going back to legislation. Like my grandfather got the GI Bill, so he was able to buy a house, anchored a family into. Right? Now, how many of my grandfather's peers couldn't buy that house, couldn't anchor a family. How many of them children was left failing in the wind? Shit happens from that.
Facts.
There's no anchoring, right? And no matter what, one day I'm going to be released to the motherfucking wolves. Okay. And I got to learn how to adapt to move through.
Okay.
So no matter what, in my duration, I've met women anchored in the wolves theory. It just is what it is. And matter of fact, most of us are anchored in that theory because most of us are coming from lack.
Okay.
Right? So you got to fucking adjust. No matter what information I got to have adjustments based on courage. My relationship with my family is more important than certain shit at certain times. So I got to root myself in here no matter what. It's still a war.
So what gives you that courage? Because you can't get the courage if you don't try and fail from that trying to then learn the lesson from that failure to then succeed. Some people are afraid to fail because they don't understand that failure is a part of that success. They don't want to push and they don't want to die. Like I said, there's a saying the Marine Corps has. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody's willing to die.
Nobody willing to die.
So that's that courage, right?
True.
The guerrilla thing, the guerrilla thing that you're talking about, and me talking about building people who are shooters. Everybody wants to own a gun, and everybody ready to do gun shit till it's time to do gun shit. When it's time to do gun shit, ain't fun shit. You see what I'm saying?
50 Cent got a line that says, "React like a gangster or die like a gangster for acting."
I'm just telling you, So now that you have this, I like that. I love the fact that you said that reading in your house was enforced. Because they didn't give you the option to decide whether or not you're going to do that. Someone knew that if I don't make you learn this shit, you're going to fail and it's going to be harder.
But look, I appreciate all of that.
Yeah.
I appreciate reading it earlier. I appreciate the information I got from all that.
Yeah.
But the biggest influence on my life was my father. And that was just being.
Right.
That was just being, right? And I saw him walk through phases, and that shit just gave me greater admiration. Right, I saw him walk through phases. I remember having to spend winters at my grandmama's house because there wasn't no fucking heat in our house.
Got it.
But my father stayed his ass in that cold house until he was able to get the heat back on. Now there's an opposite side to this too.
Go ahead.
Right, my mother was not of that ilk. Be clear about that shit.
Facts,
right,
facts.
And she drove that man absolutely crazy. Loved my mama to death. But I saw the dynamic back and forth for the entirety of my lives. My respect for him versus her lack of respect for him. Created a certain dynamic in my mind. We got to be honest about that shit, right? Now, my mama didn't have access to just bounce. Because even we ain't had no heat in the winter, my mama had access to have heat ever. You understand what I'm saying? But even with him doing the shit that he did, it was like still not valuable, right?
Not valuable to who?
To her.
Okay. Because I know it was valuable to you because you're learning
to me.
Absolutely.
But what I'm saying, if you put that same dynamic together with a woman with a little bit of access.
Right.
She bounces.
That's what I'm saying. You drop that. You
What
drop that in
happens
2020.
to that little boy? What happens to that little girl? What do they begin to value? You understand me? Because that was a fucking war. That was a war. But she deemed it as a war between them two.
When it wasn't.
He deemed it as a war against every fucking body else. He used to say to me, every day I go out here, I'm fighting the bear. Some days I whoop the bear ass. Some day the bear whoop my ass. But every day I'm going to be fighting. And that's what life is for black people.
I agree.
But it's a different dynamic for black men.
I agree.
Right?
I
and
agree.
because our value system isn't rooted in fighting that bear together, it's easy to dissemble that family structure. Because you losing to the bear, bitch, not me.
Especially when I can find comfort or some sense of escape from the bear in general, right? And so if that's women or if that's men who don't choose to fight, if I don't have to see that bear today and I found some level of comfort in there, then that's what I'm going to choose to do tomorrow too, right? It's just a little bit easier for me to assume or pretend that bear isn't out there because I'm safely tucked away into this small piece of comfort that I found within this uncomfortable situation. I think that we choose that false sense of comfort over dealing with that bear on a daily basis. I think we choose it every single day. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll dig deeper into this conversation. And what, you ready?
Go.
Just hold it. Got to take a break. Just hold on to it. We will be back. Tucson Warner, Herb Howard here with you to 3 o'clock, joined live in the studio by the host of Triggered. His name is Triggered Mike. I call him Triggered Mike. His name is Instructor Mike.
That's the same thing. I like them both. Don't matter.
We'll be right back.
WISTVPM.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Week events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Week members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Week-led organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Maze Jackson.
If you could make up a social media holiday, what would it be?
Randy said National Don't Let No One Put You Down Day.
No one. What you gonna do? So when they say something crazy, you slap them?
Be like me said. Randy said a Jukathon Day.
Man, we're about 60 years old. I be done had a heart
You gotta get your heart rate up.
Okay, not that far.
All right, Mario said my favorite one. My friends and I do what we call National Call Off from Work Day.
As a business owner, I don't.
You don't like that, yeah.
I don't like that.
Because I'm the boss of this family.
We got Marcus Garvey Day from Remy too.
Oh, Marcus Garvey Day. All right, what will we do on Marcus Garvey Day?
Call off from work.
I'm going to need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow. That would be great. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Every Black holiday has something to do with calling off from work.
You're cool. I'm out.
About National Join a Positive Black Organization Day, because I don't want to be recruited. I don't want to be recruited and the brothers be like, thank you. Thank you. How about National Tell White People the Truth Day? Tell them how you really feel.
You can't handle the truth.
Why don't we call that National Black People Get Locked Up Day?
I'm going to tell them there's an African American man threatening my life.
Hello.
The most dangerous show in the morning.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your Black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
And we are back live from the beautiful What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. This is I Said What I Said. Herb Howard, Tucson Warner here with you every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. right here on the What's in It for the Black People Media Network, live on the Maze Jackson page. Shout out to all y'all watching on Facebook. Shout out to everybody watching on YouTube, too. We certainly appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be here. We are fully aware that you could be doing absolutely anything else, but y'all chose to be a part of this conversation, and we appreciate it. It means a lot to us.
World, but you're here with me.
And we are grateful for that. As always, your input is valued. It is appreciated. Leave your comments. We'll read through as many of them as possible as we go along. It is a Relationship Friday here on I Said What I Said. Each and every Friday, we try and break down many issues that are impacting relationships in the Black community, specifically between Black men and Black women, because we believe that until we get that foundational piece of our community settled and solidified, then we can't build everything else that we want to on top of it. We talk about education, agriculture, business, whatever it is, the ability to defend ourselves. None of those things are going to be as effective as they could be without us first solidifying that foundational level of our communities. And so we try to talk through those many of those things from different aspects of it. And today, that is the conversation. So appreciate y'all for adding y'all's input and value to this conversation. Mike, before we went to break, you were on the edge of your seat about something. Do you remember what it was?
Yes, I do. No, I don't. I
always
said it already.
That's how it happens. It's all good.
Oh, no, I remember.
All right.
Yeah, no, I was saying, you were talking about comfort, I think Tou was talking about that, and I was like, can the government be that source, in essence, of that comfort that people who may not have things always put together, is the government that source of that comfort, and do we become attached to that? I think that's what we were talking about.
Isn't that kind of the original basis of government, though?
Well, yeah, and
to protect the least of thee.
Yeah, well, or to support the system that we're talking about in the beginning. That's a part of the reason why we're not educated like we should be. You see what I'm saying? And this access to information, because we could talk about the beginning of America and the Constitution, but it wasn't for Black folks in the beginning because it was one nation under God, for all men except you. Go get my sandwich, bitch.
But government has but government by definition has a bigger reach than just America. Government by definition is just a system.
It is.
Right? So you think about the Lord of the Flies book or movie or whatever one you was engaged in or not engaged in. It was basically a basic understanding of how government works. Here's one tribe of these kids is operating off of anarchy, and here's one with governance. Right. And the one with governance is successful. Right. The one with anarchy is going to kill the weaker species. It just is what it is.
And has that been long before America became America?
Absolutely. Since the world is existence, there's always been levels of governance. You know what I mean? So, but we have become so dependent on not only just our dependability on governance, but our governance has never been built for us. Okay. Right? And we start to identify with the value system of this government. Okay. Therein lies the problem, because that same governance governs our households and how we deal with one another. Right. And we don't give it its just due. We don't give it its credit. We think we're looking at our partner as just our partner when the social confines create the social confines of our relationships.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And we don't know that. We think it's just how I feel about Lil Larry. No. That ain't how you feel about Lil Larry. That's how America tells you should feel about Lil Larry. You don't even know who the fuck Lil Larry is. You don't even know who he is.
And that could be said about a lot of different things. So I'm looking at some of the comments, and so
come on with it.
Somebody was like, Africa may be that place where we can die in our origin and grow our future, but we so stuck on this thing called America. Have you fucking been to Africa? Fam. Dude, I'm like, have you been to Nigeria? You know, right now they're going through stuff in Nigeria where the police
the government is killing their ass in the street.
Yes. I'm like, you sure you want to go, homie?
You know, they killing us in the street too, though. What the fuck is the difference?
Not to that level.
What you mean not to that level? Do the math.
The math of those that's dying right now is way worse than what we see.
Do the math for the existence of Nigeria since the existence of America. Do the fucking math.
Well, here's this. Do the math too. If we're talking about slavery and how the slave trade started, right? Wasn't there slavery going on in Africa before the European boats?
Not under the same concept, though.
Hold on. Here we go.
System of slavery, no.
Well, the first system of slavery, no. So you mean to tell me, looking at the guns, and I tend to look at things, and I want this debate. This is fucking right. Here we go. You mean to tell me using the guns that they had back then, that little ball musket, right? They showed up to a continent of kings and queens, and they showed up with musket balls and said, "Get your ass on this boat."
Right.
That little slow ass ball.
No.
They had help.
There were many people that were complicit in the slave trade.
They negotiated selling the shit out of our ass. I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
to bastardize Nigeria over America that's just not valuable to me.
Well,
that's
when you
not
look
real.
When you look at actual death.
No, we can look at actual
death.
Is
a body is a body.
We can look at actual death.
Sure.
America's the biggest purveyor of violence since its existence in the universe.
I agree.
That's what we do.
That's why we remain.
Shit.
That's what we do.
That's why we remain the most powerful
country. That's where our value
country.
is. We will fuck you up.
I swear to God.
That's our value.
We will.
Gumption. That's it.
That's it. We don't give a fuck. We're unapologetic. Right. This is America. America. So we'll blow that shit up.
I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving, but not for that. Not because for any reason to shit on Africa. I'm not leaving because this is my fucking crib.
Facts.
Like, period.
I'm not going to Africa and then they blow that shit up.
Like I'm
under the Bruce Lee Act. I'm fluid.
It's on the table. It's on the table. Right? I think it's always healthy to leave your options open. Whether we're talking about moving or we're talking about relationship, I don't give a fuck. Leave your options open and consider every possibility. Facts. That being said, I'm strongly on the side of fuck you. This is my crib. Like we are more American than any other motherfucker here. I ain't going no motherfucker where. We need to find our utopia within this. Within America, not within this construct, which I was about to say. Not within this construct. We need to flip the construct or master the construct. But I ain't going no fucking where else to do it.
No.
Like, I don't even know how I'm gonna be received when I get there. Ain't like they be like, hey y'all, all the black Americans, we didn't plot it out this much. This gonna be y'all. This y'all shit. Niggas ain't finna be going for that when we get over there.
All of us own 40 acres.
Right.
But then that's a real conversation though, because that gets us back to the reparations. Okay. You know what I mean?
That's it.
But again, like Salim says, that reparations stabilizes our community in a way to build an identity.
Mm-hmm.
Until we get there, our households are always going to be in shambles because we identify with whiteness, and whiteness, the construct itself, is based on shitting on blackness.
But you know what? I looked at something too. My first book, and y'all seen my books before. My first book is hot in Nigeria. Do you know my first book is expensive as shit in Nigeria? The little $9.95, $13.95 that we just that's nothing. I'll pay for that. Yeah. It is expensive as hell just the paperback. I'm staying my ass right here.
I think that
in
many ways, I think that even when we talk about the reparations piece, we have to find that identity piece first. Because as long as we are still like beholden to this like white constructs, it's like we still gonna we're not gonna do anything that's gonna be self-sustainable with the reparations piece. And I'm not making the argument of don't give us no money because we're gonna jag it. I don't give a fuck. Give me my money. If I jag it, it's my choice, right? I'm not making that argument at all. But I'm saying for the long-term health of us as a community in terms of being self-sustainable, we have to do that mental and emotional work first before that tangible work even becomes valuable or a real thing.
Because if I got $1 million and you got $1 million and you got $1 million, I think the three of us and people like or better minded than us will appreciate that. You got your $1 million, you gonna flip it. I got mine, I'm gonna flip it.
Right.
But then just like G Herbo even said, if they talk about letting Larry Hoover or Jeff Ford out, and you got somebody that'll kill them because they're not even in the mindset to be able to accept the knowledge that these brothers have.
Right.
What do you think is gonna happen if we get reparations? So my $1 million should become your $1 million, should become my $1 million. So I'm gonna kill you and then take that.
That's how I'm gonna flip mine.
We fight over
But
the
all
little
of
shit.
that
But I'm not
is
saying
rooted-
us. Go ahead.
Even the conversation about the $1 million being the value asset, all of that is still rooted in this same white patriarchal capitalist mindset.
Got it.
Part of what I don't understand is why we confine ourselves to the limiting beliefs of these thought processes, right? So when you think about King's "I Have a Dream" speech, the reason he centered that shit in a dream because a dream has no limitations.
I remember you saying that.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like think about
until you
what the
bust.
fuck does wealth really mean?
Right.
Right? What the fuck is wealth really? What can you do with wealth? When you juxtapose the spectrum of wealth, then you get to the end of this spectrum and say, I got all this shit.
Yeah.
What does it do? It allows me what? Freedom.
Right.
Right? But on the very opposite end of that spectrum of extreme poverty, homelessness, you got the same freedom. I could do anything.
Some dreams do have
I
limitations.
can do anything.
You know.
Yeah.
Them is the same
can wake
fucking
up and do
conversation. I
whatever
can wake
the
up
fuck
and do
I
whatever the
want.
fuck I want to do.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
He got shit.
Yeah.
He got everything that you desire.
Right.
They in the same fucking boat.
Some
What
dreams
is the
have
value of that?
Some dreams have limitations. If you don't want to die, you'll wake up out that dream.
Mm-hmm.
If you bust, dream's over. You know what I'm talking about.
For sure.
So
For sure.
All right. I just want to throw that in there.
No, that's real.
I don't have them kind of dreams. I have a woman.
You ain't never had a wet dream in your life? You've never had a wet dream.
I'm not going.
I've been getting a lot of action for a long
I
time.
didn't say you had a wet dream last night. I said you've
No,
never had one
No.
in your whole life.
Not that I can remember.
Too loud.
Fuck out of here.
Why you looking at him?
I ain't had my first one until I was grown though. So like I swear to God,
Wrong, like I had one last night.
listen, like 20s when I first time I even had one.
Yeah, it's, I
Well, no, we talking about your last time. We talking about your first time. Don't say that. Don't say shit. Don't.
I don't even know when the last time. Like
Oh.
Tou said,
yeah, I mean, I'm not, listen, I can't tell you, I can't remember when it happened, and it wasn't recently, but I certainly had one. It's just about like not being able to control your subconscious like that. If you go too far in that dream, if it becomes too real for you,
And
and
it's
you
a
think
lim-
you actually stroking
you
that
about to
thing,
go.
you will come in
And
that
it's a
motherfucker.
limitation. You better wake up afterward because it's gonna be a nice wet ride going to sleep the rest of the time. So
Yeah,
you
but
better,
the difference is that one feels good, and so you kind of allow yourself to stay in it. Versus if you're falling off that fucking building before you hit the
you
ground,
better
you wake up.
because some people have. I guess it's been said. I don't know. Some people have died in their dream, and then
Yeah.
it translated to an actual
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Everybody, Boosie even saying you lying too.
Boosie say Tou ain't never had a wet dream. Listen, man, make sure y'all get over to
Tou was light skinned in the
Beverage.
80s, man. Tou got a lot of action. Maybe I just ran it all out my system. I don't know.
That is true. Even Bernie Mac, I'm getting tired of fucking.
Hurry up, busting nuts. Shut the fuck up with all that nuts. We can go to sleep. Listen, make sure y'all get over to Kimbark Beverage Shop. It is located at 12, what is it, Ryan? Like 1214 East 53rd Street? I want to say it's 1214. It might be like 1218, but it's in the shopping mall, same one, the shopping center, same one with like the Harrods and the grocery store, just on East 53rd. I'm going to say 1216 East 53rd Street. Get over to Kimbark Beverage Shop. Go holler at Swain. Shout out to Swain too. Jonathan Swain joined us here for election night coverage. He sits on the board of elections, and he gave us some inside information about some of the things that were going on election night here in Cook County. So make sure you get over there if you're gonna have your weekend festivities. Get your beverages, get your libations popping. Get them from black-owned Kimbark Beverage Shop on East 53rd.
Hey, I know this is way out basic. I know this is a Relationship Friday. And
Yeah, we just went everywhere. We just
I know.
wet dream liquor.
Because you brought out that dumbass wet dream shit.
I
don't know who. I don't know who it was, but somebody was talking about. It was a woman in here the other day asking. What did she say? I asked all the men I deal with about their body count. What was that conversation? Because y'all brought me into that conversation.
Yeah, we were talking about body count. I'm not going to say who it was because it was a private conversation. We was out there wilding. But she was like, I asked about their body count, right? And I was like, why would you ever want to do a thing like that? And she's like, you don't care? No, for me personally, I don't care. Hey, I know y'all finna go on this Hot Boy Herb shit, but I don't really care about your body count. One, because everybody wants to have a sexual partner that is good. Everybody wants good sex, but nobody wants anybody who's ever had sex before. Where the fuck she gonna learn that shit at?
Wait, run that back again. She asked, did you ask about a woman's body count?
She said that it's important to her. She'll ask a man his body count.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, why the fuck would you ever want to do that? One, they're probably gonna lie to you.
Facts.
Two, what difference does it make? Like is that gonna stop you? Like you 3-4 dates in, you feeling this person, the vibe is good, the energy is good. It's like, hey, how many people you fucked before? What's the number that's gonna be like? Oh no, I don't really want.
Right.
I'm not really taking part in that. I don't understand that piece at all. I've never understood the people being enamored with this idea of fucking a virgin. Like that doesn't even make sense to me. Like why would you like? How's that? Like I don't know. Go learn something and then come back and tell me what you learned. Like, I'm not trying to go through that. That's crazy.
I think it's based around the fear of like STDs and stuff like that, but at the same time,
that's
like,
real.
That is real.
And so I say, what you can do, you don't have to have the body count.
STDs?
You can say where produce your paperwork. Where's your paperwork? When
You
your last
can't do
test?
that.
I don't think it got shit to do with no
paperwork.
STDs.
That's valuable. Let's trade paperwork for sure, but let's trade body counts. Fuck that. I don't even know.
Right? Because at the same time, even if I tell you how many people I done slept with, you could catch an STD for sleeping with one person.
I don't think it's about STDs.
It's not even real. Like,
Come on. I'm not gonna say that, but it's not about STDs.
What is it about?
It's about ownership. It's about how many miles on this goddamn car. That's it. It ain't about STDs.
So in other words, so you don't. So you don't want to get a vet. You want to get somebody that's.
Well, you don't want shit. I'm just going to the conversation that was having. I wasn't
He said, I don't need a
shit.
vet. I'm married. Shit, you.
Listen, I don't really care your body count. Now in terms of, there are some social things that go along with it, right? You come into a new city or a new neighborhood, and you.
Why she know everybody?
Right? How does she know everybody? Everywhere you go with your new girl you didn't get with, she knows everybody around. Like, she's got some miles on her, bro. Like that, it is what it is. And you wonder why all these brothers like, yo, that's your wife? Okay, cool. Like you don't know that before you moved to Chicago, she done been through.
The
you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? No matter you go out west, out south, everybody knows her. Like, oh, well, that's fine. And if you know she's changed and you love her, that's cool, bro. Right. But I mean, so it could be viable to know, to get that Carfax report. But in terms of just to know your body count, I don't really care.
This moment has been brought to you.
I'll take note of it. I'll take note of it. Like we having sex and this bomb is here. She do some shit like, oh, this is not the first time she's done that. Like she's done that.
No.
A lot of times because she's great at it.
Where did you learn that? It was a banana and a grapefruit.
Everything I'm great at. Everything I'm great at, I've done a whole lot. Like, I ain't. You great at something? Done it a whole lot. Like so, it'd be like, yo, I got the best head ever last night. She's a demon on that for a reason. Like she didn't. This wasn't first time last night. G.
Blood on the dance floor.
You know what I'm saying? It just kind of what it is. But people, I don't know, man. We worry about the wrong shit, in my opinion. What you want to know is, are you gonna fucking burn me? Then give me your paperwork. Let's change paperwork. Here's my status. This is your status.
That's it.
Let's roll.
That's it.
Boosie say, my brother used to say, I ain't gotta have a new car, but she at least gotta be a certified pre-owned.
A certified pre-owned.
Damn.
Because everybody is pre-owned, right? Like you reach a certain age. This idea, like I'm gonna find this untouched, like
right.
No, you're not.
45 and you're my first.
No, like you know what I'm saying. That's not a real. That's not a real thing. Like that don't even.
Do you recycle your lie every time?
Yeah, I'm pissed. Like I'm pissed because like I've been married. Now I'm going through this fucking divorce and shit. And it's like, yo, I don't even know if I can find like a woman that like don't get like a whole bunch of her own back. Like I'm talking about like 3-4 kids. 2 baby days. I don't want to deal with none of that shit.
Is there really somebody that doesn't have kids that you?
How do you even find that? You know what I'm saying? At this age, so it's like, man, look, I'm just gonna start wilding out again.
So it was like, I'll let you two handle that. Right?
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
That's a limited view though, G. It's a lot of everything out here. Trust and believe.
No, I have found that's not necessarily the truth, right? There are a lot of people out here that are, you know, like me, mid-30s, 40, whatever, and don't have children, right? So I have found that that's not necessarily the case.
That way, if you don't have children, look, I love my kids, but if
Tell
you
the
had
truth.
to do it over again, son.
Hey, how come every time I ask people about like being a parent, and I guess it's the right thing to say, and what else could they say? But they be like, no, it's the greatest thing ever. It's you know it's something you wouldn't understand. Like, okay.
Look, being a parent is great. It really is, but it also depends on how you navigate yourself. And marriage is not for everyone. I'm sure you're finding that out, right? Marriage is like a business, but not everybody should own one, right? So, you know, and the same thing for children. You know, different people have children for different reasons. So if you don't have children, stay that way. Just don't, you know, because once you do that, that's like having employees before you have capital to pay for them. You know, and then you wonder why you got to work. You only got 24 hours in a day, minus that 8 for sleep or rest or whatever you do. And you got 16, and now you're working 2 jobs to try to sit here and back pay your employees because you didn't have money.
Man, fuck what Mike is talking about. Be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Be fruitful and multiply.
Hold on. Yes. Be fruitful and multiply at the Daily Center. Fact. All your say shit now. That's also your ass.
That's also about Mike's own limiting beliefs. Be fruitful and multiply with if it's a harem or if it's a woman that you should be fruitful and multiply with.
Sure.
Don't plant no seeds in no motherfucking distorted fertile. It just is. Don't plant a seed in no bad ground. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Is
make smart decisions.
Hold on. He don't have no wet dream. So you
make smart decisions.
Don't do that
pussy
shit.
Don't control me.
Facts. I know. You're married. Look,
but it ain't never controlled me.
Facts.
And therein lies the difference.
Don't do that shit.
Therein lies the difference.
Right.
Control you how?
Remember the P challenge?
I've mastered me very early.
Child support. Don't do that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would say pussy don't control me. You might say differently. See, you might say differently. Right. I disagree. Right? It's something I enjoy. It's not like, you know what I'm saying?
But enjoying something and being addicted to it or being controlled by it is 2 different things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not addicted to it at all. I can stop today.
Okay.
And until you get that. When it comes to 3-year-old Sam,
I told you I was going to the end of the year.
No, okay.
I told you in the middle of October I'm going to the end of the year and I'm not having sex.
No, but be fruitful and multiply, man. That's our greatest power in this planet. That's what you're here for. Right. But this goes back to how distorted the goddamn value system is.
Don't do that shit. Mike,
but this goes back to how distorted the value system is. That's your only real value on this planet.
Right.
Is to keep multiplying to have more people on this planet.
Right.
That's why our journey should be about making a better world for the next generation to come behind us.
Right.
But our selfishness based in this capitalism system.
Got it.
Fuck even having kids.
Got it.
I know you can say whatever you want.
No, it's good. Right.
But
I got it.
Again, universal law versus man law. It's not that I don't disagree. I understand it.
Right.
I understand it. But by the very nature of why we're here, that's the fuck why we're here.
Right.
For me,
I get it.
For me, not having kids is not an issue. Not a thing about like, finances or like it's a 24/7 commitment and worry and responsibility that I just don't choose to have right now. I would be a phenomenal father. I would be all about my shorties. I have my shorties with me all the time. I love kids. I got a lot of kids in my life, nieces, nephews, godchildren. Love them to death. My favorite two things about spending time with them is picking them up. I'll be amped as fuck. Dropping their ass off, I'll be amped as fuck.
Facts.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just kind of.
Oh man, enjoy your freedom. But what I'm saying is, it's also like what's the maturity? What's the human lifespan about? At some point, you got to change what you value, and you will start to enjoy other shit.
Right.
I made a joke with you the other day. Like, my son wasn't calling me for the first week. Motherfucker called me. I was in the shower when he called me. I jumped out the shower like, nigga, that was a lottery piece.
Charged up.
Because I was super excited, right? Because I love that little boy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's a different level of understanding when you meet your seed. There's a different understanding of life when you meet your seed. Shit, you definitely become secondary.
I can understand.
You understand what I'm saying? And it's almost like you couldn't even imagine that feeling before you had a seed.
Yeah, I can't.
You understand what I'm saying? Because we are selfish. It is what it is. Until I met my first child, I was like, whoa, this is different. This is different. You understand me? And it changes your perspective on life, which also gives me the gumption to go out here against any motherfucking bear that's outside my fucking house.
Right.
Period. But I never had that gumption before. You know what I mean? And that's based in what? Love. Because that's pure too. That shit is raw and cut right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that raw and cut has me with the gumption to fight the fucking bear every day. It just gives you a different level of purpose. It just is what it is.
Listen, Mike, man, if we're gonna talk about being prepared to build self-sustainable communities, being ready, willing, and able to defend them is a critical component. You are an expert on firearms and self-defense. where can people go to get more information about your classes and to follow you?
Well, first of all, you can go to don'tdothatshit.com. Number one, I had to tell them that again. All right. But you can go to MikeBrownsClass.com.
Go to don'tdothatshit.com.
Right. You go to MikeBrownsClass.com/Don't do that shit, Herb. Stay single and no kids until it's time for you when you're ready.
Oh, I'm not. I don't even have any prospects.
What
for
he's saying
is
when shit goes good. I got for when shit goes bad. Don't do that shit.
Yeah, I don't even have any prospects for children at this point.
Okay. But MikeBrownsClass.com. You can get your concealed carry, stuff like that. I love to be able to teach you. I appreciate the opportunity for both of y'all. Just, allowing me that space to even be able to, promote that stuff. 773-372-3929.
You got some classes coming up?
I do have classes coming up. A lot of classes coming up, especially before Thanksgiving, stuff like that. Check your attitude. I want to learn something from you. I'm not the only person that could teach it, but it's got to be transactional. We both got to learn some stuff. So we're going to get these guys on the range because I want to teach them how to shoot a little bit better. Because, I know you.
Question, Mike. I've been had my FOI, right? And I got my paperwork for my concealing carry.
Yeah.
But I never sent the shit in.
Send that shit in.
And I think I can't find the shit now.
Now you got to find an instructor who taught you so you can get the newest paper because the design has changed.
Okay.
So you got to find that too. Yeah.
All right.
Why you sitting on it, man? You got fruitful and multiply. You better multiply that shit into a license. You better.
Now, that's a real thing. I think it's necessary for us to be ready and willing and able to protect ourselves. Y'all think that it's going to move to that space in the country right now based on how this election goes? You think y'all concerned seriously about
that space in my neighborhood because Lil Von just got killed. Fuck what this fucking country you talk about.
Now that's more important. I like that. Right.
There's realities no matter what. You know what I mean? You still got to deal with the reality of your life. Right? In this country, in Chicago, we kind of live in the hub, right? I have a hard time believing that white folks is going to come from anywhere to disrupt what's going on 53rd Street. I don't think they got that kind of a gumption.
You know how many rivers they got to cross just to get to? They're not about to do all that.
Right.
They, that's just talk and stuff like that.
Right.
The same thing with the Jussie Smollett. He got hung by the.
Right.
Boy, white folks ain't doing it to
But I do worry about my son being in Arizona while this shit is going on.
Now that is a different area.
That's a different conversation.
Right. That's a different conversation.
I do worry about that shit for real.
Right. Yeah, there are pockets of this country where
I'm finna take more pistol down there. That's what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Where we are more susceptible to that kind of stuff than in other places, right? You get certain large metropolitan areas where there are only a few of them in this country anyway.
Voter suppression in Chicago? Nah.
Yeah, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? That's not a real thing. Illinois gonna be a blue state as long as Cook County is a black county.
Hey, without Cook County, this is motherfucking deep south, G. Don't confuse this shit.
No. Have you saw the map? We're
getting pushed out of Chicago, this shit will be little Alabama.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Illinois is already that shit south of I-80. You get south of I-80, that's where the country starts. For real.
I was surprised to see Will County is blue. I was surprised to see.
Well, this is America, and I think that regardless, I just want us as a black community to understand that regardless of who is managing the plantation is the fucking same. Yeah. So please do not take your foot off the gas, right? All this energy that we've gotten around this black liberation movement in the last 4 years because we are so emotionally moved to do so by Trump and his rhetoric, keep that same energy and don't think, oh, we got Biden in, now we can relax. Relax for what? What part of this 400-year history tells you that we have the leeway to be able to relax here? We do not. That's not a real thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if Biden forgets his inhibitions that keeps him from saying the racist stuff that he thinks, and you start to see the real Biden.
Oh, he's a dirty motherfucker.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And he has dementia, so anything can happen.
Him trying to keep up with a real presidential schedule.
Wait, those niggas
I can't imagine that dude trying to keep up with a presidential schedule. He's gonna lose his fucking mind.
Facts.
Listen,
there's some ideas that says Kamala's running with him because she's gonna poison this nigga just to get the position. You know what I mean? So she's worse than him personally, but it is what it is. She was AKA, so I guess that validates.
It is what it is. We got to get up out of here. I want to thank each and every one of you all for tuning in. We greatly appreciate you all being a part of the conversation. As always, your input was valued. It was certainly appreciated. Coming up next is Chicago famous Mike Love and Diz here with you from 3 till 6. Huge thanks to our brother Trigger Mike, instructor Mike Brown. Thank you so much for coming through, brother. We appreciate you.
This was great.
For Ron Rilla doing all the hard work behind the glass, and for my good brother, Mr. Toussaint Warner. My name is Herb Howard. We will be back here with you guys on Monday at 1 p.m. Until then, y'all be good to each other. Peace.
That's why we shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go, Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.